welcome back to May's edition of Breck Buzz. I'm your host, Haley Littleton, Marketing and Communications for the Town of Breckenridge. And today we are going to look forward to summer and spring, and we're here with Ann Murphy, who is our Open Space and Trails Manager. And even though it's winter outside
feels like
right
winter
now,
today. It does.
And it's snowing, we're going to talk about summer. But first, give us a little background about Open Space and Trails.
Sure. So our Open Space program is now in its 21st year. Breckenridge voters were really phenomenal in passing a permanent sales tax measure back in 1996, 0.5%, which comes into our Open Space Fund. And the following year, in 1997, our Open Space program was formed. So our mission is to preserve lands and trails that protect a lot of the great beauty that we have here and our unique mountain character. And since that time, we've protected about 4,700 acres of land and created 58 miles of trails. So in 20 years, it's really phenomenal to look back and see just how much has been done.
Yeah, do you feel like that's pretty unique for a town of our size?
Absolutely. I think it's such a great accomplishment to have so much community effort and community focus into our open spaces and our trails. I think it's very much part of the culture here and the land ethic that people have.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty terrific place to be.
Yeah, so I think everyone, they hear trails, they think, oh yeah, we got it, the trails that our town is building. But talk a little bit about our land acquisitions and what goes into that.
Sure. So we have a great partnership with Summit County Open Space and Trails, and it's so much better if we can leverage our resources and combine efforts. So of those 4,700 acres that we've protected, about 4,000 of those are jointly owned with the county. And so we go outside of the exact boundaries of the town of Breckenridge and work in really all of the upper Blue Basin. So we have some wonderful properties protected everywhere, a lot of which is close to town and provides good trail access for us and trails. Others are, back in the backcountry protecting our scenic views and that backdrop that we have to Breckenridge.
So what are a few of those, if you want to name them?
Our biggest land acquisition, again in partnership with the county, was the B&B Mines purchase. That was about 1,800 acres in the Golden Horseshoe. Just a really, really remarkable area where we do have a lot of great recreation, a lot of great trails. And the other really big part of our open space program, and we call it our crown jewel, is the Cucumber Gulch Preserve.
Right.
So if you've ridden the gondola and have gone over the wetlands there, that's part of Cucumber Gulch Preserve, 117 acres or so. But really phenomenal rare wetlands that are there, a lot of restored wetlands, really unique ecosystem that we have. We have some really interesting species. And right now, actually, the gulch is closed. So Breckenridge Nordic Center has closed their operations for the winter time.
Right.
And we go into the seasonal closure period. We'll open the trails back up again after July weekend, after July 4th weekend, which will be about July 9th this year. And basically our moose are calving during this closure, and we want to make sure that they have the most protection and just habitat to be able to do that without disturbance.
Right.
So kind of a really unique thing that we have there, but it's also really the impetus for our open space program, and that's why we were formed, and the community got together because they wanted to preserve these wetlands and rare fen habitat, and Cucumber Gulch was born and started open space.
Yeah, so it's kind of balancing that, protecting land and then giving access to recreation.
Absolutely.
And so, talk a little bit about, I know that you guys just did a state of the open space report, and I think people would be really interested in that.
Sure. So every year we try to do an annual report just highlighting all the great accomplishments, and 2017 was a fun year to report on because it was our 20th anniversary. So it was a great look back period for us to see what all we had accomplished in 20 years. And just over the past year as well. So we hit that 4,700 acres of land preserved, 58 miles of trails. Last year, our big trail efforts were the Mineral Hill and Claim Jumper and a new extension of Iowa Hill. And so there's really a lot of great trails that we added last year. Looking back, I think we have spent total of over $20 million in land acquisitions just for all these great open spaces that we've protected.
Wow.
And I think 20 years now into our program, we've gone into a little bit of a stewardship mode as a program. So we have all these lands that we've protected, all these trails that we've built. So it really becomes a great kind of maintenance and management responsibility. And so kind of to that end, we've taken on a lot of new land restoration activities.
Right.
And the McCain property just north of the CMC campus. So that river has been daylighted and restored and is going to be open to the public before too long.
Right.
So about 2 years ago, the river was restored. Last summer, we spent with just a lot of revegetation efforts, so thousands of trees and saplings and plants going into that area with the irrigation to keep them going. And this year we're really anxious. I think, you know, once the snow melts, we want to see how that property fared and how the plants are holding up. But we are going to have some volunteer activities to do some weed pulls to keep all the bad stuff out of there, but see how our plants are doing.
Yeah.
And eventually we're going to plan some new trail loops that go through there.
Ooh.
Some touch points on the river and fishing access too. So it's going to be a really great amenity, I think, for the community.
Yeah, I mean, just the other day I ran on the river trail, which is wonderful. I mean, if you're looking for a quick, kind of flatter run along the river, it's
especially
beautiful.
This time of year when so many of our trails are still under snow.
Yes, so I am thankful for that trail. And you guys are also working on a park in that area, right?
Exactly. So there have been really a lot of long-term visions for that whole corridor of the Blue River. And years ago, I think it was back in the 80s, the Blue River was restored there along kind of the Block 11 where all the new Blue 52 development is going in.
Right.
And it was always envisioned to have kind of a string of parks along the river because that runs along the rec path. It's such a great area, so close to town. So open space, we were successful in securing a $350,000 grant through GOCO a year ago to construct a nature play park. And nature play is, I think, kind of the leading edge really in park design these days. And it's really this concept that, you know, kids learn best when it's in that natural environment, and you can have play features that really mimic the great outdoors. And so we've taken sort of this mountain landscape that we're in and transformed it into a park design to really fit kids of all ages. And so we're going to be constructing that. Actually now there's a lot of site prep work that's happening. Construction will happen all summer long and be complete in the fall. But it's going to have some pavilions with restrooms, areas for people to gather, a lot of play features for kids. And kind of the neat thing too, there is actually going to be a bridge that crosses the river so you can connect to the rec path, which is going to be just a great connection. And then we're hoping that we can go back to GOCO perhaps and secure some additional funding for a phase 2 of the project, just to focus on a few more elements, maybe a little bit of a fishing access and a little bit more of a toddler type area in future
Which
phases.
Is awesome as we're building so much housing out there to make it a real neighborhood.
It is, and when you think about just the Upper Blue Elementary School being so close by, the rec center and a couple of childcare facilities, and the CMC campus too, it's really just a great proximity to everything there.
Yeah, and so I think what is interesting too is, you know, we have our open space and trails program, and we do have a committee that oversees everything. It's called BOSAC.
Yes.
So talk a little bit about that.
That is our Breckenridge Open Space Advisory Commission. It's a phenomenal group of 7 community volunteers. These are folks who are really, really engaged in the community, one of which is actually a council member. So we always want to have that liaison to council so they know what's happening in the world of open space. But this group is really charged with kind of making those big decisions on what open space is focusing on, where we're spending our money. So we talk a lot about different acquisition projects, those restoration activities, trail projects, and then BOSAC makes the recommendation to town council to approve these projects. So rather than council having to learn the ins and outs of all these different acquisitions and projects, they have this great sounding board in the form of BOSAC. And council recently made a change so that we have term limits for BOSAC, so that's a little bit new. And the thought behind that is really, you know, we just want to involve so much of the community, and this is an opportunity to get new blood and new perspectives, because people love it and they want to stick around, which we do love, and we want to keep them engaged, but we also want to give some new folks an opportunity to join. So members can now serve up to 2 consecutive 4-year terms.
Okay.
And next April, we'll actually have a couple of openings from folks that are going to be term limited out. So we're definitely looking to recruit some new people, and we are looking to recruit women. So our BOSAC meetings actually are open to the public. I don't know that a lot of people realize that, but we meet on the fourth Monday of every month. We're going to be moving from Town Hall over to the Rec Center now that our open space offices have moved over there. But the public is definitely encouraged to come and attend and just hear about all the neat things happening with open space.
And do you find that there are a lot of community members who are engaged in these summer projects?
Oh, absolutely. So there are, I think, community folks that are engaged year-round and folks that come to our meeting and kind of have questions or want to learn a little bit more or offer some great advice. And then we have this really unique program called the Friends of Breckenridge Trails. So that is really our volunteer arm of open space, and it's phenomenal in the numbers of people that come out and want to volunteer, really get their hands dirty, get in the dirt, help us build trails. I think last year we had about 450 volunteers that came out.
Wow.
And we've just released our summer dates for Friends of Breck Trails. So if you want to check our website, all those dates are listed. First one coming up is June 2nd, which is also National Trails Day. So very fitting. We're going to be tackling a new reroute of the Side Door Trail. That's going to be our big sort of volunteer effort all summer long. And if you've been on Side Door now, it actually kind of follows a fall line. Not terribly sustainable in the way that it's built right now. So what we're going to do is build kind of a new route that goes to the north of that will be multi-directional, kind of nice and flowy for folks, and eliminate some of the blind spots and tight corners. But we're going to keep the existing one. We'll improve it, but have it as a downhill trail. Just so that we can avoid user conflict from folks going uphill that are coming down. So.
And you guys have some projects that are weekend-long projects, right?
We do. We also, our other big trail project, in addition to Side Door, which we're going to be tackling all summer long, that one requires about 3,500 feet of new construction. So we're going to need a lot of volunteer help for that. But we're also adding an extension to the Nightmare and Baldy Trail. So if you've heard, Summit Huts is building a new hut, the Sisters Cabin, up in Weber Gulch. And this is going to be an extension that gets us a little bit closer to that cabin. New construction, and we're partnering with Volunteers of Colorado, VOC, as they're known, for a big weekend, July 28th and 29th. And it's very much a family-friendly event, and we have a lot of fun activities planned in the evening. And folks camp out, and we have music and food, and it's a great opportunity for the whole family to come out and help build this new section of trail. So another great opportunity.
Big trail party.
Absolutely.
That is wonderful. It's a good workout too, right?
It is. It's an incredible workout. We have a trail crew of 6 folks, and the amount of work they put in a season is tremendous. It's a lot of hard work. They do an amazing job, and they really know their stuff. They're great with our volunteers, and they really have quite an eye for trail design and how to build sustainable trails.
I love our trails. I think anyone who lives in Breckenridge can talk about how much it's just so wonderful to be somewhere where almost anywhere you are in town, you're close to a trail.
Absolutely, and that's really our big focus. We are always conscious of user conflict or trail congestion, and so our thought is we would love to have people, no matter where they are in town, just step out their door and be able to access a trail. So rather than driving to the same trailhead, people can just hop on a trail wherever they are, and that really does tend to disperse people throughout the whole trail network. And with 58 miles of trails, there's a lot of terrain to cover, and so it really preserves that user experience, and people feel like they can really just be in the outdoors and have this great experience without necessarily tripping over everyone.
I have noticed that this winter a few times when I've gone Nordic skiing. I got a little hint from a BOSAC member to check out the Lorium
Yes, the Lorium
open space area, and
it
was wonderful. We had fresh snow and we didn't see anybody else, and it was such a unique experience.
Absolutely, and that's kind of one of the other big projects that we've had ongoing, kind of an experiment or a pilot for us the last 2 winters, is winter grooming. And so we love to extend the trail experience as long as possible throughout the year, and so we've experimented with grooming with a snowmobile. We have this kind of neat attachment that goes on the back of it, and we've been grooming kind of Gold Run Gulch Road from the Gold Run Nordic Center all the way to the Wellington neighborhood, just to see, does this work? Can we do this? Does it get people out on the trails that might otherwise just be too covered in snow to really get out? And it's been a great success, I think, really positive feedback. And we've heard from trail runners and dog walkers and snowshoers, skiers, fat bikers, kind of everyone has been out using these trails. And so we took it a step further again this winter and started to groom the rec path. In partnership with the Town of Frisco, which was great, and Summit County Open Space was valuable in kind of getting that set up for us. But that's what we're hoping to continue again doing next year, and just give people other options to get out in winter and have a nice groomed trail to get out on.
The response from that is people loved it. People loved that we were grooming their rec path, and some people were Nordic commuting to work.
Absolutely, like what a great thing.
Very sustainable.
Absolutely.
And you guys are going to have an open house on May 21st at the rec center, right?
Yes. So we try to do an annual open house, and it'll be on Monday, May 21st from 6 to 7 or 7:30, and we will be providing pizza and refreshments for that one. But we usually get a great community turnout for that, and it's an opportunity for us to talk about all these projects that we're going to work on this summer, and just have a good forum for people to ask questions. Our community acts as such important kind of eyes and ears on our trails. They let us know when trees are down. They let us know if there's a problem with a trailhead. And so we really appreciate the feedback from the community, and just a great opportunity for us to meet with folks and talk about what we're doing. And we're also hoping to show off our new open space offices, since we just moved over to the newly renovated rec center. So
those offices are
excited.
Nice.
Yes, very much so. The whole renovation turned out really well.
And it's great that you guys are kind of all together in the rec center.
Definitely.
So as we're getting into spring and summer, we're looking at our trails melting out and being muddy. And first, let's talk about how we can make sure that we're protecting our trails as we use them in this kind of mud season. Yeah,
this time of year is tricky for sure. Everyone is so anxious. Spring fever is setting in. We all want to get outside on the trails, and there's not a lot that's fully open right now. The river trail, as you mentioned, is a really good resource right now, because that is exposed to the sun, so it dries out. But we try to follow the leave no trace principles. So certainly respect for all users that are out there on the trails. We get everyone from little kids to really professional athletes and everyone in between. And so we do want to respect all the users that are out there. We also want to make sure that for a lot of our single track trails that we continue to keep those single tracks. So, we ask that folks not pass, not shortcut on those trails, because that will help sustain them as single track. And so to kind of, walk your bike or walk over obstacles rather than kind of creating a new trail around some type of obstacle. Also, to really just pay attention to the weather. In the mornings right now, when it's kind of chilly, a lot of things are frozen over, and so if you're trail running, dog walking, or riding a bike, it's pretty doable. But as the sun comes out and the day warms up a little bit, things start to get really, really muddy. So we want folks to pay attention to the weather, and just be aware. Anytime you're out on a muddy trail, it really does create a lot of havoc for everyone else. One of the things that we've done to try and just have the community of trail users help us is our muddy meters. So we set that up at certain trailheads, just for people to be able to just swing the dial as they're out on the trails and the conditions change throughout the day. They can help others know, oh, it's really, really muddy. You might want to stay off this section, or things are looking good.
Yeah, because we don't want to erode our trails faster than we need to. So I think also talking about leave no trace, let's talk about everyone's everyone's favorite topic, which is dog
Let me guess,
poop.
dog poop, yes. You know, we ask that people clean up after their dogs.
Right.
We all have to do our part. I'm a dog owner. I have to do the same thing. Carry bags around and pack it out.
Right.
And it's becoming quite a big problem. It looks awful this time of year, especially as the snow is melting and we see what has happened over the winter months.
Yes, you find the uncovered ones.
People have not cleaned up after their dogs. And my trail crew are very fond of saying there is no poop fairy.
Yes.
So that is true. Clean up after your dog. We just ask that everyone be responsible pet owners that way.
Right, because it does have a big effect on the
It really does.
on the environment. And I think, one of the last things I want to talk about is kind of reminding people, like you said, our trails are very much multi-use. Trail runners, hikers, kids, bikers. What is the proper etiquette as people are getting back out on the trails?
I think respect for everyone out there. Certainly some of the little kids that are just maybe learning on a bike, give them some space, don't crowd them. and I think the biggest thing too, because we have such incredible terrain here too, is actually it's kind of required that downhill riders actually stop to uphill traffic.
Right.
And a lot of people don't realize that, but that really does help with traffic flow, because you can really kind of come down those hills pretty fast. So we ask the downhill folks to really just stop, let the uphill traffic by, and then continue on with their way. And I think that really goes to just helping all users coexist on the trails.
Right, everyone from beginners to our most experienced.
Absolutely.
And we do have some great trail maps that kind of lay out the difficulty, right?
We do. We have a really great trail map that you can get at the Welcome Center, or we may still have some at Town Hall. We're hoping to update it this coming winter because we've been adding so many trails, which is a good problem to have. But we have an interactive one on our website, and also you can download that big trail map, kind of the front and back sides of it. It's a really incredible resource, really help you get oriented, see where the trails are, see kind of the level of difficulty as well, because everyone wants to know, where can I go with my kids versus, hey, I'm, kind of an expert level, so where can I go? So we have something for everyone out there.
Yeah, we definitely do have something for everyone out there, and I think our open space has done such a wonderful job at ensuring that Breckenridge is a great place to live and recreate and protect our land. So if people want to know more, they can go to the townofbreckenridge.com and sign up for, they can reach out to you to sign up for some of the events.
Absolutely, yes. So you can email us to sign up for any of our Friends of Breckenridge volunteer events. Come to the open house on Monday, May 21st, and we'll have more opportunities to sign up there, and you'll get a little bit more of a sneak peek at some of these trail projects too, to see what they involve exactly.
Yeah, well, thanks, Ann. And for you guys, thanks for watching. We really do love our open space and trails, and we ask that you take care of them and love them as much as we do, and we really ask that you get involved and join us this summer. And that's all we have for this edition of Breck Buzz. For the Town of Breckenridge, I'm Haley Littleton, your Marketing and Communications Coordinator. We've talked about our open space and trails, and we wish you all a great time out on the trails, and please remember to help take care of them.